Today, we are completely decoding the exact mathematical blueprint the ultra-rich use to build lasting real estate empires. Forget the get-rich-quick stuff. We're diving straight into the real, foundational strategies that have literally created countless billionaires. So let's just jump right in with a pretty foundational question about how true wealth is actually generated. What do some of the world's wealthiest people have in common? It's super easy to assume it's just a massive salary from a high-powered job or maybe a lucky inheritance, right? But if you look at the reality of self-made billionaires, you're going to see a completely different, very deliberate pattern.
The answer? Well, it's actually incredibly simple, but man, is it powerful. They don't just trade their time for a paycheck. They own assets. Actually, historically speaking, real estate has minted more millionaires than almost any other asset class. The ultra-wealthy focus entirely on acquiring things like apartment buildings, towering office complexes in massive warehouses. They're essentially building these brilliant systems where their properties do the heavy lifting around the clock.
Here is our game plan for today. We'll start with the real estate secret, compare assets versus liabilities, master leverage and cash flow, get into that billionaire mindset, and finally, look at how you can start your very own empire. Let's get to it. All right, part 1, the real estate secret. So let's uncover what makes this such a historically powerful wealth-building tool compared to almost anything else out there. Unlike stocks that are jumping up and down every single day, real estate gives you this unbelievable 4-pillar combo: consistent cash flow, long-term appreciation, aggressive tax advantages, and leverage. It's an unmatched combination that pumps out ongoing income while simultaneously scaling your net worth. It's a real game changer. Moving right along to part 2, assets versus liabilities. Now, this is absolutely crucial. This right here is the mindset divide. The average person gets a bonus and boom, they buy a liability. Fancy cars, the latest gadgets, things that actively drain their pockets over time. Billionaires, they do the exact opposite. They focus entirely on assets that produce money. A rental property doesn't just sit there looking pretty, it acts like an economic engine, putting money back into your pocket month after month. You aren't just spending wealth, you're buying a machine that creates more of it. Okay, section 3, mastering leverage and cash flow. All right, let's shift gears from psychology to the actual math of how this billionaire engine works. Imagine you want to buy a property with a $500,000 price tag. I know, for most of us, that number sounds completely terrifying, right? But the secret of the ultra-wealthy is that you don't actually need $500,000 sitting in your checking account to acquire it. No way. It all comes down to leverage. Basically, you're using a relatively small down payment to control a massive asset, and the bank provides the rest of the funds. This is how you aggressively accelerate your wealth creation. You get the full appreciation and cash flow benefits of a $500,000 asset, but maybe you only put down a fraction of that from your own pocket. Now, of course, and I have to say this, while leverage can drastically multiply your wealth, it absolutely must be used wisely and calculated carefully so you don't get crushed by risk. And if you want to take leverage to the absolute next level, you use OPM, other people's money. Successful real estate investors don't just rely on bank loans and their own piggy banks. They build teams, they form partnerships, and attract private investors. By utilizing OPM, they can scoop up massive properties and scale up their empires at a speed that would be, frankly, impossible to do alone. In this space, your network literally becomes your net worth. Which brings us to the lifeblood of the whole operation, cash flow. Beginners are always obsessing over sticker prices or what a property might be worth in 5 years. But the wealthy, they obsess over cash flow. It's the net positive income remaining after your rent comes in and your core expenses go out: your mortgage, your taxes, maintenance, and insurance. If that final number is positive, you have an asset that pays you consistently year after year, completely unbothered by whatever the broader housing market is doing. Let's head into section 4, thinking like a billionaire. Having the math right is really only half the battle. The rest is entirely in your head. Everybody today wants immediate overnight success, but real estate billionaires, they think in decades, not days. Wealth grows slowly in year 1 when you're just getting started, but by year 15, your patience has built serious equity because your tenants are essentially paying down your debt for you. Fast forward to year 30, and that property has likely doubled or tripled in value while throwing off cash that entire time. Patience, for sure, is a billionaire's greatest competitive advantage. But hey, being patient definitely doesn't mean sitting still. Because interest rates jump around, neighborhoods completely change, and economic conditions shift, you literally can never stop learning.
Billionaires are constantly studying new markets, rigorously analyzing potential deals, deeply understanding their risks, and relentlessly trying to improve how they make decisions. This constant pursuit of knowledge is what ultimately separates the great investors from the average ones.
And finally, Section 5, starting your own empire. Let's bring this giant billionaire playbook down to earth with some actionable, concrete steps. Because guess what? You don't need billions to start. Step 1, become an absolute expert in your local market. Step 2, aggressively avoid bad debt while consistently saving your capital. Step 3, deploy that capital strictly into income-generating assets. And Step 4, above all else, think long-term and let time do the heavy lifting for your portfolio. It's a beautifully mundane reality, really. Wealth is built through consistency, not luck. Small steps taken over many years produce absolutely remarkable results. True financial success isn't about discovering some top-secret magical property no one knows about. It's simply about applying consistent effort and sticking to these proven, fundamentally sound principles over a long period of time. I really hope this explainer has completely demystified this wealth-building blueprint for you. You do not need to be a billionaire to start thinking like one today. So I'll leave you with this final, provocative question to chew on as you look toward your own financial future. Every real estate empire begins with a single investment. So what step will you take today?